Boomtown is KVUE's in-depth look at the massive growth happening in Central Texas. Having enough water for Austin's growing population, it's a huge concern. Add the ongoing drought, record-breaking heat, and aging infrastructure, and you can see why water managers and conservationists are worried about the future. The KVUE defenders looked into what's being done so we don't run out of our most vital resource. Here's investigative reporter Jenny Lee.
It's a Virginia creeper, a native vine.
Only certain plants.
It's a big muley grass.
Thrive in Austin's challenging climate.
I've got a lot of this plateau goldeneye.
Landscape architect Tate Mooring promotes native plants because traditional yards in Central Texas take work.
We have extremes, so it gets very hot, and it also can get very cold. We've been in this drought now for a period of time.
Since September of 2021, to be exact, state climatologist John Nielsen Gammon says Texas is experiencing the worst drought since 2011.
We had the second hottest summer on record, behind only 2011, and so that made the drought impacts worse.
During a drought, Gammon says water demand goes up. At the same time, water levels in reservoirs and aquifers go down, triggering restrictions when levels get too low. Several Central Texas communities are under water restrictions, like Hutto, Round Rock, and Austin. Capital City leaders want to take it one step further with a proposed irrigation and landscape ordinance for new homes.
We don't just want to go out there and tell people what to do.
Marissa Flores-Gonzalez supervises Austin Water's resources team. She says the city is getting community feedback, asking what Austinites think about only allowing certain types of native plants and grass in yards, limiting the amount of grass in lawns, and limiting the size of sprinkler systems. The city council is expected to take up the item next year. Tate Mooring already knows some won't like it.
I think as Texans, we don't like to be told what to do.
But with landscaping accounting for 32% of residential water use in Austin, Gonzalez says conservation and other strategies are needed, especially when the population is only projected to grow. Some of those strategies are already underway as part of the Water Forward Plan, the city's 100-year program that addresses future water needs. One pilot project would store drinkable water underground. It's called Aquifer Storage and Recovery. Austin Water is studying 3 possible sites in Travis, Bastrop, and Lee counties.
So their ability to store water, to hold water in large amounts, and for us to be able to ensure that if we're injecting water into a naturally occurring aquifer where it could be safe from evaporation, that we're not losing that water due to movement of water in the underground aquifer.
The Aquifer project isn't expected to be online until 2035.
It only takes a few minutes to install the new digital meter.
Austin Water is also in the middle of rolling out smart meters across the city. The MyATX water program modernizes the water metering system. The goal is to conserve water and save customers money. The new technology even caught Hobbs the cat turning on the faucet for a late-night drink. It sent Hobbs' human companion an alert about a possible leak. Another conservation effort underway is the Purple Pipe System, where neighborhoods like the Miller development use reclaimed water for lawns. Reclaimed water is recycled from wastewater and treated for non-drinking use. The conservation is only part of the answer. The Lower Colorado River Authority operates Lakes Buchanan, Inks, LBJ, Marble Falls, Travis, and Austin, collectively known as the Highland Lakes. Drone view reveals Lake Travis's receding shoreline during the ongoing drought. As of early November, Lake Travis is 47% full. Lake Buchanan is 60% full. Both are the 2 major water supply reservoirs in Central Texas. To help reduce water demand on the Highland Lakes, the LCRA is building its first new water supply reservoir in the Lower Colorado River Basin since the 1940s, when Lake Travis was built. The Arbuckle Reservoir in Wharton County is set to hold 40,000 acre-feet of water. To give you an idea of how much water that is, an acre-foot covers about the size of an acre, or the size of an entire football field, 1 foot deep. So the Arbuckle Reservoir can hold 40,000 times that amount. Here's another way to think about this. 40,000 acre-feet is more water capacity than Lady Bird Lake, Lake Austin and Lake Marble Falls combined.
Because I manage water supply, I remain concerned all the time.
John Hoffman is the Executive Vice President of Water at LCRA. When the Arbuckle Reservoir is finished, he says LCRA will be able to store water downstream of the Highland Lakes, where the lower basin gets about twice as much annual rainfall compared to the upper basin. But seepage issues have delayed this project twice.
When you start to see sand moving with the groundwater, you want to make sure that you deal with that so that you don't have any type of subsurface structural issues that could develop because of it.
The KVUE Defenders first told you about the Arbuckle Reservoir in 2018. At the time, budgeted for $250 million, with operations set to start in 2019. The now $419 million project is expected to be up and running in 2024. According to the LCRA, water inflows into Lakes Travis and Buchanan this year, seen in purple, are well below the levels during the drought period of 2008 to 2015, which concerns advocacy groups like Environmental Stewardship and Environment Texas.
Will we be able to meet the needs of residents here if we have another severe drought? I worry, will there be enough water to go around? So it's very concerning.
Population growth is another major factor affecting our water supply. The Texas Water Development Board, set up in 1957 to help secure water supply and create the state's water plan, estimates that the Lone Star State's population will go from 29.7 million in 2020 to 51.5 million in 2070. An increase of 73%.
We're growing more than you think.
The Texas Water Plan also projects that the state's municipal demands, seen here in light blue, will start surpassing existing water supplies, seen here in dark blue, in 2030. Existing supplies estimates are based on drought of record conditions, like in 2011. Matt Nelson with the Texas Water Development Board says the state plan also reveals unmet needs.
There's a significant number of ag demands that can't be met under drought conditions, and that is the biggest unmet need in the plan.
Nelson says that's why the state's 16 water planning regions need to implement plans to tackle those needs.
The state of our water supply and infrastructure is challenged at this time.
Jeremy Mazur with Texas 2036, a nonpartisan public policy think tank, reminds us of another factor affecting water supply: aging and deteriorating water systems.
We always assume you're going to turn on the tap and water's going to come out of the faucet. But we were all taught a brutal lesson a year and a half ago of what life without water is like.
In February of 2021, Winter Storm Uri caused widespread water and power outages. According to the city's After Action report, Austin water staff made 381 water line repairs in a 10-day span.
I'm aware of some water systems that have water losses upwards of 50 to 60%. Which means that of all the water going into their system, only 40 to 50% of it makes it out to the other side to where people are waiting at the end of the tap.
Mazur says the nonprofit's recent voter poll shows most Texans approve of using some of the state's $27 billion budget surplus to fix the state's aging water systems. They are in such bad shape, the American Society of Civil Engineers gave Texas a C- for our drinking water infrastructure and a D for our wastewater systems. The good news? The Infrastructure and Jobs Act gives Texas more than $2 billion over the next 5 years to help fix our water systems. But some experts say smaller communities may not know the state of their water systems and may not know about this federal funding.
Beautiful blueberries.
Meantime,
water has always been a concern.
Tate Mooring will keep recommending smaller lawns, smaller sprinkler systems, and native plants in hopes those conservation efforts and water strategies will keep our water flowing.
You want to avoid wasting water.
For the KVUE Defenders,
We had to be much more careful.
I'm Jenny Lee.